What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, the lifeguard, Eric Wilson. And the NHL Draft was last night, the first round at least, and the New York Rangers got kind of a steal, I think. They got an exciting right winger. Gabriel Perrault is how I believe you say his name. Drafted him at 23rd overall, but he was ranked 10th by TSN's Bob McKenzie. Boston College product, exciting young player here for the New York Rangers that could be our right winger of the future, potentially. So we're going to go ahead, react to the draft pick, break it down, give you the stats and all of that good stuff. But before we dive into all that, make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts on the topic down below in the comment section. And make sure to go follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Fireside Rangers. But without further ado, Eric, how are you doing today, my friend? And what are your thoughts on the Rangers' first-round draft pick?
I'm doing good, and you're right. This is a steal. I think you pronounce his last name Perot, but don't quote us on that. Don't crucify us in the comments. When it comes to prospects, sometimes me and Anthony get a little confused. But once they're in the system, we study them like a book. So I'm pretty enthused about this draft pick. The Rangers are pretty good at drafting. And I had faith that Chris Drury was going to make a solid choice with our first round pick. But just to see a name like this fall as low as it did, depending on like who you look at, people's projected draft rankings, he was pretty much in the top 10 all the time. I saw one person had him ranked 7th. It was Bob McKenzie from TSN, who's like one of the most reliable hockey analysts, had him at 10th overall. So to get him at 23, it's pretty much a steal right there, like you said. I'm curious to know why he dropped down as low as he did. I know different teams have different needs, depending on their current situations. But I don't know. Overall, he's a right winger who shows a lot of potential to be drafted to the New York Rangers. I'm pretty ecstatic about it. I saw this statistic just based on his stats, his projected career. He had like a 49% chance of becoming an NHL star and like a pretty solid 93% chance of just becoming like a consistent NHL player. So just those numbers right there, those projections show great signs for the future.
Yeah, those are some exciting numbers right there. One thing that I will say stands out to me, though, Eric, 5'11", 165 pounds. A pretty skinny guy. Even you see the picture of him holding up the Rangers jersey. He's pretty thin. And I wonder what your take on that is. Do you think that this is a guy who, I mean, I know that he's really young. He was playing on the under-18 team. Young player here, has plenty of room to grow. But do you think that that's going to be a necessity for him to add some more mass to his frame? Because 5'11", 165 just sounds a little frail, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little small. And there are a lot of great NHL players out there who are pretty small. You look back at like Matt Zuccarello back when he was on the team. That guy was like 5'6", like 130 pounds, but he was one of our best players. So the Rangers do recently have had the problem with a little bit of a lack of physicality. We have guys like Patrick Kane, Lafreniere, who are like smaller, don't really bring a lot of physicality to the team, and they're more of just like the crafty, speedy players. And that kind of seems like what Perot is going to be like. But, like you mentioned, he is only 18 years old, so he does have time to, build up that body mass and grow. So, and then again, he's already committed to playing at Boston College to develop more next season. It's going to be a little bit of time before we even see him have the chance to crack the roster. So the team might look a little different. Capo Kakko is a big guy. Hopefully by the time this new draft pick is ready to make the team, Kakko is even bigger, playing on the first line. So, he'll have someone around him to kind of do that job for him. But overall, I don't look at it as a red flag just yet. He's got time to develop and grow.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think that there's plenty of time for him. So rushing him into putting on too much weight may not be necessary right now. But I do like the fact that you mentioned there with him already committed to play at Boston College next year. We'll just give him plenty of time and plenty of competition to face off to help him develop and prepare for that next level. But let's read this quote from Forever Blue Shirts. I think this is interesting about the Rangers' latest prospect. Quote, a player that has decent speed but a keen awareness of what's happening on the ice. He also has great hands and vision that allows him to be in the right place at the right time, coupled with his excellent hockey IQ that some may say is the best in the draft. He generates scoring opportunities for himself and others, end quote. And I will say ESPN also did refer to him as the smartest player in the draft class. So if the Rangers aren't getting a physical presence or anything like that, they're not getting a guy with a lot of size and mass, well, they are getting somebody with a lot of size and mass inside their skull. Big brain player here for the New York Rangers. So, Eric, what are your thoughts on that? Just having a high IQ prospect like this in the fold.
I mean, it's great to know that he has a great hockey IQ, and just like reading this analysis from Forever Blue Shirts about his style of play, it kind of reminds me of like what Artemi Panarin used to be, before he became the turnover machine that he is, where he's aware of what's happening on the ice. He can make passes, he can make plays, but at the same time, he can also set up scoring chances for himself. So just to know that he's quick, has good hands, and he's smart. That's kind of what the Rangers were lacking throughout this last postseason. So to see a guy who can bring all of that to the table, it seems nice. It also kind of just seems like the type of player that is almost like what we wanted Patrick Kane to be for the Rangers a little bit. So it's kind of just like the Rangers looked at what went wrong and just kind of analyzed who can bring all of that to the team, and they found it in just one guy so far.
And yeah, I got right here. It is Perot. You were right, Eric. It is Gabriel Perot. I was listening to the draft announcement once again. So Gabriel Perot, and here's some more stats on the guy. Like we mentioned, 5'11", but 121 games played, 71 goals, 114 assists for 185 total points as a member of USA under 18 team. So I think that this is a really exciting draft pick, one that I like. I think that when you bank on intelligence, you can't really go wrong. Go for those smart players that know how to play in a system, that know how to be in the right place at the right time and all of that. And I think that's really important. So the Rangers are going to allow this kid to continue to develop, over in Boston College. And then I'm sure he probably gets moved up, probably plays for the AHL and, moves his way up through the ranks. But eventually I could see this kid making an impact on the Rangers lines and being a starting right winger for this team. But, Eric, when you're looking at that position in particular of right winger, that's one that's kind of wide open for the Rangers, right? Like, this is something that the Rangers did need to address. I know that we talked about maybe they need to go after a center in the first round. Some fans were suggesting a goalie behind Igor Shesterkin, but I like the idea of taking a right winger. I think it makes sense, and I think it was the right decision. But what are your thoughts on that, just the Rangers addressing this position in particular?
It's definitely something they needed to do. I think going into this draft, the two biggest things that the Rangers needed to address were the center position and the right winger position. But I think the right winger is a little more pressing, where, for the next couple of years, we have our centers, Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Hedel. They're going to be around for a decent amount of time. The only problem with that was just that both Zibanejad and Trocheck are getting a little bit older. So like in the future, that's going to be something that needs to be addressed right away. But as for now, I think the more pressing matter was the right winger, where Tarasenko and Kane, they're not going to come back. That's all but confirmed at this point. We know Capo Kakko is probably going to slide up to the first or second line. We've been talking about Lafreniere potentially switching over to the right side to fill in one of those spots. But, if that doesn't work out, there is still going to be an opening right there. So I think out of all the positions, right winger was the one that we needed to fill in right away. And I think this is the perfect way to do it. Not much cap to work with. So it's better to just draft and build from within the organization. And, you mentioned his career stats, which I just want to address last season's stats that he had, where in just 63 games, he scored 53 goals and 79 assists for 132 points. That's a lot of points right there. That's more than 2 points per game. And just to put that even more into perspective, that broke the previous record of 117 points, which was last set by Austin Matthews, who, as all hockey fans know, is like one of the best players in the league and is about to get a 13 million per year contract, which would be the highest in the entire league. So just those numbers right there, that he's exceeded Austin Matthews, as it shows all the signs that this is going to be, if not one of the best steal in the entirety of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, what you just mentioned right there screams superstar potential. Again, it's always potential. You never know who's going to reach their potential, who's not going to reach their potential, but you bank on potential. That's what the draft is all about, finding guys with potential. And this player right here has a lot of potential for the New York Rangers. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, Eric, but free agency is right around the corner. We are 2 days away. We're recording this on Thursday, reacting to the draft, and on Saturday, free agency will begin. So I don't think it'll be too impactful considering, he's still going to be playing at Boston College and everything. And, the Rangers aren't going to base this upcoming season based on this draft pick, right? But what kind of an impact do you think that this selection could have on the Rangers' upcoming free agency plans? In terms of maybe going out there and looking for a winger, I think that now this does give them a little bit more flexibility to take an older veteran who can play 1 to 2 years rather than looking for a long-term, 5+ year contract solution at the right wing spot. Again, I know the Rangers don't have a lot of money, so they probably wouldn't even be in the running for any of those long-term solutions anyway. But still, when you think of it from that perspective, what kind of an impact do you think that this draft selection could have on their free agency plans?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be too crazy impactful, but it definitely will shake things up a bit. Like we keep saying the Rangers have like no money, but if you like really think about it, if we're not going to re-sign Tarasenko or Kane, that does open up like a couple million there, but maybe we'll have like 5 or 6 million. So, we're not going to be able to get like any superstars. I don't even know what superstars are out there right now on free agency, but it opens the door to potentially sign a winger worth like 4 or 5 million. Someone will put up like 50, 60 points. And I guess it really just comes down to the years, like you said, we're not going to go out with another Trocheck level signing, like 7 million per year for like 8 years. It's if we were to go out and get anyone like a big NHL name player, it'll be someone kind of cheap, maybe 4 or 5 years, nothing too crazy, just to like hopefully time it out perfectly where when that contract were to expire, that player would either be retiring or we would just let him go and bring in one of these prospects.
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset. And I will say right now the Rangers are projected to have almost 12 million in cap space, but a lot of that is sure to be dried up really quickly. Restricted free agent Alexi Lafreniere, they're going to have to pay him. Restricted free agent Keandre Miller, again, restricted. So any of these teams around the league can make a massive offer on Keandre Miller, and the Rangers will either have to decide to let him go or match that offer. And again, that can get very, very lucrative. So that money is going to dry up rather quickly when you consider those two big names are restricted free agents. And then again, when you look at the unrestricted free agents, you mentioned Patrick Kane, you mentioned Tarasenko, Tyler Mott as well, Nico Mikkola, and Yaroslav Halak. I could see a good number of those players being back, but for the most part, they could probably choose to re-sign one of those guys. I think that how it's going to shape out, they're going to bring back Lafreniere, of course, as a restricted free agent. Keandre Miller comes back, but then you have the majority of your cap space eaten up right there. So then they're going to have to decide Patrick Kane, Tarasenko, or Mott, or maybe one plus Mott. I'm not sure, but really, I think it's going to be tough for them to re-sign any of those three players and not cap strap themselves for this upcoming season. So they might have to go ahead and target a smaller or a lower price point in free agency. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in free agency. And of course, we're going to be updating you all on free agency, all of the big signings and rumors surrounding the New York Rangers right here on Fireside Rangers. So make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts on the topic down below in the comment section. And make sure to go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Fireside Rangers for all of your daily New York Rangers content coming your way. Without further ado, we will catch you all in the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Rangers.